I love everyone. The people who have put together Spirit Hosts, they know. They know.
Yeah. It's like a shared, it's a brother and sisterhood
Yes.
of people who have been there. It's like that peer into the abyss photo from earlier. That's the look people's faces. That's how you get on your face when you think about assembling Spirit Hosts.
How many points is this? I'm not certain what the current points are.
It's certainly enough.
I mean, it's a jump start. It's 3 battle lines, a centerpiece, and a hero. It's a jump start to an army, right? I think the Spirit Host might be a little bit of meme, but the rest of it's playable. It's I just because there's a lack of proper hammers in the army. I think you run a black coach, just to have freaking something that can potentially level up and turn 2-3 unseat something.
I would
go ahead.
I would certainly hope that when they get their next book as well, I mean, we know Games Workshop are not great at balance, right? But one thing they are great at is changing their books around to make sure that they sell stuff. And I think, therefore, one of the things you've seen them do a lot in the last couple of years has been to look at any given book and make whatever unit was super popular not good anymore, and whatever unit was
Pendulum.
not very popular super good, like the complete switch around in like Fire Slayer's units, which one was the best. And I can certainly imagine when the Nighthaunt book comes out that some of those just incredible models that came out with Nighthaunt, like the Black Coach, will suddenly be a lot better. Or you would at least hope so. So if I was painting in advance, wanting an army ready for when that book came out, I would definitely paint a Black Coach.
Yeah. So 715 is how many points it adds up to. Less than I thought, but
a good number. That's a good number.
Yeah, I mean you can start your slow grow or your what's it called? Here, I'm back here. You don't have to turn your camera back on there.
This is a $5 donation, right? 715 points for $5. Right. Where else are you going to get that level of economy?
Yeah, great Path to Glory army. Look at that. Yeah, check-in gets it. There it is. Oh. There it is. It's the Face of Warhammer.
He's arrived.
You're in the big times now. Yeah.
That's what happens when your ass falls out on camera and people screenshot it and then send it you straight afterwards. So always fun, isn't it?
But it's I don't know if you've watched The Big Lebowski, but there's a big Sam Elliott's character who's just the narrator, delivers this speech where he's like, sometime there's a man you see, the dude. And he's a man, he's the right man for his time and place. Like, it's not that it's the best person to do the job or it's just, you're the right man for the time and place. It was the essence of 3.0, like learning captured in a single photo.
Honestly, I read that war scroll before, and it was like, it sounded cool. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. Yeah, sure, whatever. Brilliant model. And then Richie's like, I'm going to do a thing later, and you're going to enjoy it. And I'm like, cool, whatever. You got trees. I'm not bothered. I got Kragnos, it's cool. And he's like, oh, I'm just going to do like 9 mortal wounds to all the units. And I'm like, you what? What are you talking about?
With Sylvaneth? What?
I was like, I don't approve. Don't want that at all. And he's just rolling these dice, and he's like, oh, just going to do this. I'm like, could have told me about this before I was on camera, but yeah, cool. Yeah, whatever. So that was fun. And then one of my mates who's like not Warhammer at all, he sent me a screenshot, and he's like, why are you on my Twitter? And I'm like, oh god.
I think Tyler Emerson is taking credit for this. He's saying, you're welcome, Tom.
Man, I've always wanted to be memed, but like I didn't think it was gonna be so early. And I was lucky. I was like, oh, I'm glad he got my good side. So
yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Well, it was such an authentic expression, like it was the right between, like, smack between performatively surprised, but then also like you could actually see the light in the eyes, like sort of like rotating around as you like are processing what happened. It's so, oh man, it's so good. Tyler Emerson, I absolutely started that. He says.
So like, Me, Richie, and Jim have been doing it for a long time. Like what? It's like 3-4 months or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we have these like kind of team meetings beforehand, and it's like right, okay. So
Yeah,
obviously,
so just in case people aren't familiar, this is JustPlay. So Ian and Richie started a little podcast before they started a podcast. They started a store called JustPlay, and then they started Just Saying a JustPlay podcast. And this has since evolved about, like you're saying, 3 months ago into just like a full blown, like, dare I say, media empire with a YouTube of like of Battletome reports, or sorry, battle reports, Battletome reviews, like tournaments. Like it's awesome. So continue. Sorry, I just wanted to reset that for chat. Who maybe is doing Warhammer wrong by not subscribing to JustPlay over on YouTube right now.
I mean, if you want to hear regional accents that aren't, like the proper British ones, then sure, yeah, tune in.
We have many different accents all on the one show.
So you sound a little more posh. Where's your accent from?
Mine.
I'm from all over, man.
No, Liverpool is the opposite, right? That's the that's my people.
Yeah,
that's the working class like accent.
Tom's accent is also not posh.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, I have no idea. I just say things.
I'm posh for where I'm from. So it's easy to say I'm from Manchester, but I'm not. I'm from a place called Bolton. Well, I live in Bolton now, and Bolton is. Have you heard of a guy called Peter Kay? He's a comedian. If you haven't, go on YouTube or whatever. Find Peter Kay. That's where I'm from, and it's like the northern, right, bloody right northern. So like everyone who's around me sounds like they're a farmer. So they think I'm posh, but then when I go, that's a different story. So I'm from a bit all over, but I'm only like 40 miles away from Ian, and our accents are completely different. So
it's insane. Like the sort of like geopolitics of the UK are just utterly fascinating to me. And y'all like understand each other like. So, like, we have a huge landmass in the States, right? Like, obviously. But, like, you hear someone who's from the South, and you're like, they're from the South. And, like, that's the end of it. They might be able to tell you the granular differences, and I can kind of pick up on, like, a Southern East Coast accent versus, like a Texas accent, which is different, they will assure you. And then, like, I can't distinguish, like, an Oklahoman accent from a Missouri. I don't know, But like you're talking like a town over, and it's utterly different accent. Like it's
I mean, for what I live in Bolton, and if you wanted to get to Liverpool, you'd have to go from Bolton to Wigan, and that's completely different, and that's like 10 miles. So like if you're from Wigan, you sound nothing like Bolton, and then you go to Warrington, and Warrington is again nothing like it, and then St Helens, and that's even worse, and then you get to Liverpool. So you go across, and it's 20 miles, and there's 5 different accents. It's proper weird. Really weird.
Well, see, the thing that fascinates me is just from like a sociological stance. Like usually, the sort of like filter blending begins to happen of stuff, right? And then, like the UK, they've held the line on their dialects, right? Like they've just
you can tell it's like a street, mate. Honestly, like I'm from Preston originally, and that's just north of everything that I've just spoken about. And they sound completely different. Like honestly, it's night and day. It's proper weird because like you could be on a train or you could be like in a pub or whatever, and you hear someone talking, and it's like, oh, bloody Wiganers, and you just know, like and everyone hates each other. So if you move towns, everyone hates you. So everyone here doesn't know I'm from Preston, and people from Preston don't know I live here, and it's like it's all kind of like a warrior mentality. So
crazy.
But then like. I mean,
complete with the musical where you're like walking around snapping, like no, sorry, that's West Side Story.
So funny, but I was in Texas 3 years ago, and they were like, "Oh, your accent's so amazing, so beautiful." And I'm like, "You have no idea, mate. Like, it's not. It's not. Like, I'm proper Game of Thrones. That's what I am. Like, when you talk about like the Lannisters, that's down south. When you're talking about like the Starks, that's the slag.
So we got the full English meta conversation. Now we've got like the sort of regional accent meta going on. But let's get back to talking about Warhammer. You were talking about the battle report, the channel coming together. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So it was probably Christmas time, and we'd all had enough. Like, I played a game in 9 months, and we were talking about it, and it was it was basically like who wants to just do some battle reports or whatever. And we're like, yeah, why not? So we started kind of like having a bit of a go and seeing how it was, and just basically streaming for each other, and it was just like 10 of us. Just, watching it, whatever.
James, I'm going to say James T, and I hope people are automatically thinking Star Trek, but James Timsdale, he plays at the shop too, doesn't he?
Yeah, go on.
So you effectively have 3 Masters players on any given week that can just like sit there like whooping your butt, like between James, Richie. What am I missing?
Richie, Ian, James, Jim, James, and JP. So all.
Yeah. Oh yeah, JP. Yeah.
We do have like a really high skill density in Liverpool, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a chicken and egg thing, right? We have a high skill density. We have a lot of players who've done well in tournaments because we play quite a lot. People seem to have this impression that we play Warhammer constantly. We don't. We play once a week. Like,
that's the amount.
We play as a group. But we talk about Warhammer a lot, and we analyze Warhammer a lot, and there's some people who analyze Warhammer an awful lot, like I do, like, and just sit there, and people throw army lists out and say, what do you think of this? And they get brutally demolished as to the fact they should never, ever think about talking about the army list again. And we go through these situations. I think one of the reasons we tend to do quite well is we go through a lot of these iterations quite quickly of like, where people might like put an army together and try it, figure out it doesn't work, like try iteration 2, and that process might take like 3 or 4 weeks of playing games. We just cut all that out in like an hour. People, we go through a bunch of iterations of early army lists really quickly by people looking at them and just saying that sucks, and people just move on to the next thing. And it's not we don't have like an over competitive meta or anything. We don't just like only play things that are really serious. But we just, when we are playing competitive games, we just don't bother with the pre-stage of trying stuff out. We just sort of jump straight to the things that we think are going to work, and that's one of the reasons that we play consistently as well. Everyone. I mean, I play the least probably, but most of the lads play once a week consistently.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're not wearing headsets. Is it possible for you to turn down your output volume a little bit?
I think it's just your speakers, Tom, probably.
Yeah, speakers. I'm getting feedback. Yeah. So, and just to answer questions real quick, since it was asked, if you donate during this block, you're entered for that. If you donate a minimum of $5 during this block, you're entered for that Nighthaunt lot that I showed off at the beginning of it. $5 gets you a shake. If you donate more, you're encouraged to, but it doesn't up your chances of winning. It's 1 entry per person. It's as equitable as it can be. It also keeps us out of trouble with online gambling laws. So it's fair. If you donate a total of $50 throughout the entire charity marathon, you're entered to win a Soul Blight Grave Lords. It's about 3,000, just shy of 3,000 points army. That's pictured on my Twitter and stuff like that. It's not pictured in the prizes because we found last year that I kept getting multiple entries for the grand prize, and so to keep that out, I'm manually tracking that instead this year. Well, not manually. I'm screening it up front instead of at the end.
Did you want to give away a Megagargant?
I'm cool with giving away Megagargants.
Let's give away a Megagargant as well, because Tom's here. Therefore, Megagargants are a theme. Less destruction go on. I completely forgot about giving something away because I'm just stupid.
No. I don't want people to feel.
Let's give away a Mega. No, I'm good. Let's give away a Megagargant. Let's do that. Let's add that in as well in honor of Tom being here.
You see him? Up there.
Yeah.
That specific Megagargant, right? Like.
Yeah. Well, I'll get a Megagargant new in box. We're allowed to ship it to the US because we're not selling it, right? So we're just sending it as a prize, so we're all good. So we'll donate a Megagargant.
Yeah.
Some donations in. Win yourself a giant in honor of Tom's face.
If you want, I'll sign the box.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
even better.
I
This is
demand.
great.
Can I enter my own giveaway?
Yeah, seems reasonable. Oh, would it? No, even better. We'll insert a signed photo of the Destruction Intensifies meme
Ooh.
with Megagargant.
Oh. This is
how could you not donate now?
okay. My favorite prize was the shirts done by Dying to Batik. It has been bumped off the #1 slot. I'm sorry. It is now this Megagargant specifically. There's another Megagargant later on. No, this one is the better Megagargant because it includes the signed meme picture.
Yeah.
I just want the signed photo. Be sure to sign it in your accent too, please.
And we'll create an NFT of it as well.
Oh!
So you actually own it. Should we give away the NFT of your meme? Oh my god! Imagine the donations. We'll create an NFT for the Destruction Intensifies meme.
As long as I have access to it, I don't care. Yeah, let's do it.
We'll stay out of the. I don't know the legality of giving away NFTs on a live stream.
No one knows the legality of NFTs. That's the point of NFTs.
Yeah.
No one even knows what they are. Like, but we'll give it away.
Brilliant. Oh man, amazing.
But yeah, getting back to what you were saying before, Ian. I'm easily the worst on the channel, and getting your ass handed to you every week by a Masters player is something that not many people get to do, and everyone should experience it. But it's rough.
It's the ultimate whetstone, right? Like you're just sharpening yourself against this gauntlet of champions every week, right? Like you can't help but I mean, you either rise to the challenge or you sort of shrink, right? Like and it's that's where like the mindset comes in. Is you need that mindset to like, okay, I'm gonna do 9 mortals to your entire army and just like the face, and then like and you come back for more, right? Like let's go. And I think there's something like infectious about that. I think that's why it's pretty great, because I've always held the line that competitive players aren't like the toxic element of Age of Sigmar. I mean, it's just competitive players tend to have the health of the game and like the common, like the sort of common person in mind when they're sort of piloting and figuring things out. For the most part, obviously, like nothing's a monolith. But I was talking to, one of our, world's team players from the American team, and he's like, when I go into a competitive thing, I actually worry. The thing I worry the most about is mid tables. Like I'm worried about the mid tables not having fun with some of the stuff that comes out, and like not because you don't worry about the bottom tables. The bottom tables have their fun. That's something you'll realize at the tournaments is like almost everyone at the bottom tables is having their fun. Like a window pane appears between you and the bottom tables, and like it starts raining on you, and you like put your hands and you look down at the bottom tables, and they're having the most fun of anywhere at the tournament. And the mid tables is where like you get this sort of like the blend of people with competitive ambitions, people who fell short, people who maybe luck sacked their way, or like were really skilled in their home group, and they come to like a competitive tournament. They're not used to that caliber of play. I mean, that's the melting pot is the mid tables, and that's where like that's sort of the health. I think that's where your healthy meta comes from. Much like in society and in reality, I think you want to keep that grassroots, where people are. That's what you need to keep healthy and maintain. Real quick, I'm going to read some donations, and you guys can get back to this here. Ziggy. Saying, keep up the great work, Meph. I'm looking forward to you smashing last year's funds, and I've added $6 for Vince. Thank you, Ziggy. This is a lot to catch up on here. Added 7. He then donated $7.29 to hit 4K. I think we're past 4K now. We're halfway through 4K. Oh my! Nice. I might have to bring out the secret stretch goals that nobody knew about because I totally didn't record a live show. Asking people's ideas on stretch goals. Brendan Melnick, do I need more Nighthaunt? No, I do not. Still donated $5. Thank you so much. Michael dropping 5 saying, stay great. You stay great, Michael. JustGut, thanks for doing this. You're a heck of a champion. You know what? I really couldn't do it without everybody. Ian, I consider you somewhat of a kindred spirit, and I don't know why you humor me. You have for now like years.
I was you ready for a bit of an emotional moment?
Sure.
Because I think you are fantastic. I think your content is great, but I often don't get to watch it because of time zone differences. But I think you are a fantastic human being. I think that doing all the stuff that you do for all the mental health stuff while dealing, obviously dealing with your own mental health stuff and dealing with the stuff that you've dealt with in your life is like a really big deal, and I think it's really important. And I think that, I just think you're fantastic, and I think that, turning up for 2 hours once a year to come and have a chat is the least that I can contribute to the cause that you put loads of your time and effort in to try and make so great. And all the community put so much time and effort in, and their own money into donating into. I mean, again, goal $5,000, $4,500, not even through day one yet. It's fantastic. Everyone's fantastic. So yeah, I think it's not a matter of humoring you. I think it's an honor to be on, quite frankly.
Massive.
Yeah.
So and to have known you via Twitter for the last few years.
Yeah. Thank you both. Yeah, awesome. Well, I don't handle compliments well, so I'm going to go back to reading these. Osmo says, in for the mental health and the spoopy boys. Tyrant Mania, Slanesh approves of this excessive amount of Nighthaunt. Thanks so much. Oh, Grim showing up. Love you, bud. I hope you're well. I know you're busy. Glad to see you still doing this. And he drops $300. So, Grim, my dude, thank you so much. One of the OGs of Chat Gang, Mr. Grimshaw, has supported me a long time. So thank you so much for that $300. Wow. And here we are closing in on 5,000. What milestones are we looking at? Where was I on these? Did I get a new one? Oh, White Wine Decant Cast shattered. So we did the Decant Cast with red wine a month, I'll drop a Midwest colloquialism for y'all. It's 2 tree months ago. A 2 tree. It's one word. You say 2 tree. 2 tree months ago, and 2 tree is it could mean one. It could mean infinity. That's its translation. So 2 tree. It's like a million. Like a million could be anything. So we're gonna do that. These random bonus shows that we've hit, I will be scheduling for like literally August and September. Everyone, you're not gonna have a huge wait on these things. We had some stuff that took us a while to complete last year, so we did some stuff that we can do very in the immediate sense. So thank you for donating for that. That'll be a good blast. Oh my God, 4,500! You did it. I'm gonna have to physically paint an actual mini on stream. I don't paint models. You did it, everybody.
Contrast is the method. Do it.
Contrast method.
So
contrast is the reason why Ian has any painted models. And to be fair, they look really good. So
contrast is changing things for me. Like, not just in terms of getting stuff done, but in terms of making me enjoy painting and giving me the will to paint things that aren't contrast models as well. I'm going to write an article on this at some point on what a game changer it's been.
Oh, there you go. So that live paints a mini. So I will be painting a mini during one of these content blocks. Yeah. We actually have a hobby hangout tomorrow at 6 a.m. with Chat Gang. So a bunch of extra Chat Gang are going to join in here. I guess I will physically be painting a model then. And then I'll also be painting a model with the hobby hangout for rerolling ones at the end of the stream tomorrow at 2 to 4 p.m. So you did it. Instead of just talking, I will paint. I might even get a little wild with it and paint early. And at 5,000, you'll unlock Heywoah's story time. Unky Heywoah's story time at midnight tonight.
sounds exciting.
Did you catch the peanut last year? The peanut story?
No.
Oh my God! Highlight.
What?
Okay, so he has got a. Heywoah he's a very good storyteller, and he has this story about this time he nearly died from eating circus peanuts and huffing gasoline fumes.
You said peanuts.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
circus
thought-
peanuts, like the
He
mushy.
said then, I was like, what?
I thought you said the pedo story.
Oh
Yes.
no,
That must be
no,
an
that's a
outstanding-
horrible
So,
story. No,
I
we
thought
wouldn't.
the same.
No.
I was like,
Just like,
this is okay.
that story, and I'm like, okay.
No, circus
Okay.
peanuts.
You know,
So he nearly
Okay,
died
cool.
from eating a peanut, right? Yeah, cool.
No, it was
nice.
it was circus peanuts. The little like it's I don't know if you have these in the UK, but it's these
what-
little
what
like
do you-
mushy marshmallowy. They're just the worst. They taste like sweet styrofoam. They're the worst thing on the planet.
Right.
They're horrible. It's like a candy. It's horrible. And so he just like he had this car ride where he had like his car had a habit of not telling him what like how much gas was in the tank. So he kept like a gas can in his trunk, and he drove. He tells the story way better than I do, obviously. And like he drove from like Wisconsin to Indianapolis, which is a like 6-hour drive or something like that. 6 hours. All he had to eat was circus peanuts. These mushy, crappy marshmallow, taste like styrofoam snacks, while huffing gas fumes. And it didn't end well, is how that story goes. But it was a donation
That
incentive
sounds like a
last year.
horrible recipe.
Oh yeah, so it's highlighted in YouTube. If anyone hasn't heard that story yet, it's worth it.
Right.
Check that out. But yeah, he'll tell another one of these stories. He has another one. I'm not going to spoil it because it's really funny. It's not
Perfect.
the Peanuts story is peak content. It's hard to top, but you should get a great laugh out of it.
Are they like Peeps?
Yeah, they're very similar to Peeps, but they're not covered in sugar and they're like harder. There it is.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, there's the 6 minutes linked in chat. Like there it is. Thank you so much, Rational Nihilist, dropping the link to that story. So I encourage you once you get off the block tonight, check the story out. If you don't die of laughter, well, I mean, it's fantastic. So, contrast over Zenithal is the single biggest thing that has reduced the barrier to entry for the hobby. Big fan. Oh, look at
This
that.
is contrast over Zenithal. This is what we're doing. I actually brought a few zombies along to paint tonight, but I'm having too much fun talking, so I'm not going to do it. But
Oh,
yeah, contrast over Zenithal is very good.
the Zomblors. Yeah, look at that. Drink Pepsi milk while you paint. You know what? I've got half a can of Pepsi here. If we hit 5,000 within this hour, I will re-up the Pepsi milk.
Oof, there's a challenge.
So you got, yeah. The block goes for another hour 22. I'm gonna say within this hour, I will drink more Pepsi milk. Man,
Is that as grim as it sounds?
what was that?
Is that as grim as it sounds? I'm assuming you just mixed Pepsi and milk.
Yeah, it's not good. Like it has a texture as a beverage. It's
Yeah.
I don't know
That's
any
that's
other.
like Havoc, like what's it in, right?
Have you ever had like a root beer float where you have like vanilla ice cream,
Yeah.
root beer? Yeah, okay. Imagine just the foam and then make it taste horrible. That's what it's like.
Oh, God. Okay. Why would you-
Show
why would
him
you
the
do-
meme. He must see the meme. I don't know if
Why
he's.
would you do this? Why would you do this?
That sounds awful. To be fair though, on the positive, I would actually I would advise everyone to donate because I want to see that. Because that sounds absolutely horrific.
I love that's.
Isn't that what-
I want to see it. That sounds horrible. I love it.
We should do a meta crossover thing, right? Where if we hit $5,000 within this hour, Meph will drink the Pepsi milk. Tom will do a Tom reaction, and we'll screenshot that Tom reaction.
Oh, like
to Meph drinking the Pepsi
I'll
milk.
give you a
and
reaction
send
about
it
what
as a
happens.
yeah, memeception.
Yeah, memes within memes.
And I'll sign it.
Yeah, it's
That's all.
Sign all of them.
Sign me a meme.
fantastic. I'm gonna throw this in general chat so you can take a look at that.
Oh, I want to clear some stuff up because I was obviously watching the Twitch before I came on. I don't think Pizza Hut is the best pizza. I think it's better than Domino's. That doesn't mean it's the best pizza. It's just better than Domino's.
Oh, I see. So you heard the shots fired of your questionable pizza tastes.
Yeah, like I didn't want Vince thinking that was who I was. That's what I was about. Because I respect that man, and I don't want him to think that I think that Pizza Hut is the way forward. Because it isn't. It's just if you offer me those two things, I'd rather eat the cardboard than eat Domino's. Whilst I would probably eat the Pizza Hut. So I just want to clear that up before anything else happens and it goes any further, because that's disparaging and it hurts me.
I would apologise for not being clear in that statement. However, you think Pizza Hut is better than Domino's, so I don't feel like I owe you anything. So there will be no.
I am 100% right, and you know it.
I'm Team Domino's. I'm sorry. I gotta break the tie here. I'm Team Domino's. It's the sauce.
Two major topics of conversation in Team JustPlay chat, right? One of them is Age of Sigmar, and the other one is whether Domino's or Pizza Hut is the better pizza.
Pizza Hut. Am I not eating the same Domino's pizza as other people?
Probably
Honestly,
not, because
here is atrocious.
Every country I've ever eaten Domino's in is completely wildly different. Like, you want to try a Domino's in Iceland, right? In Iceland, Domino's is a whole different experience again. It's like, it's crazy.
I've eaten Domino's in like 3 or 4 different states, and Pizza Hut always gives me wicked heartburn. Like, its sauce is so acidic, it pains me. And the crust is always this weird, like, floofy thing that I don't quite care for. It's like eating a sponge that's crispy on the outside. It's like if you deep fry a sponge, and then they just, like, ladle on this, like, acid sauce.
We don't really have great pizza in this country, though, unfortunately. Like, the good pizza places in the UK are few and far between, whereas...
And all the independents as well. Like,
yeah,
Rudy's around the corner from JustPlay. If you come to JustPlay, there's a pizza place around the corner. It's called Rudy's. Like, it's like mind blowing. It's mind blowing. But then everywhere else is just absolute awful.
So I mean, this explains why the UK is so, like, all in on Warhammer. It's not that you're close to the hub. It's that you have horrible pizza, so you have nothing better to do.
Exactly.
That's a reasonable explanation, yeah.
We're all, like, normal size because we don't have pizza to go absolutely mental on.
Yeah.
And we have, like, black pudding, which is incredible, by the way.
But you can't eat, you can't crush, like, a whole pizza saucer size, like, amount of black pudding because it's so filling.
Why?
You could, but it hurt. Like,
whoa.
Oh, you could.
Why does full English breakfast pizza not exist?
It probably does.
Why has nobody asked this question before now?
These are the hard-hitting questions the world deserves.
Yeah,
I'd try it. We've got macaroni and cheese pizza.
What's that?
We got macaroni and cheese pizza, and some really crazy people do macaroni and cheese with the hot dogs. So, like, I mean, actually, some people have just rolled their eyes and they think it's the most disgusting thing on the planet. It's actually not bad because you get the natural casing hot dogs, so they have that, like, snap to them. Like, it's actually pretty good.
If they're beef hot dogs as well, oh my god.
Yep.
Costco. So Costco here is like... So I went to Costco in Houston, and it's like the best place I've ever been in my life. Like, I mean, I went to NRG, I went to go see the Texans, and that's second to Costco, right? It was like the best place I've ever been in my life. Costco over here is great. My god, them hot dogs. Oh, so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I pay my membership every time I go. Like, I'd be like, I would pay 15 quid every time I go just to get a hot dog. Like,
just for a hot dog. That's the most expensive hot dog.
Honestly, a blank check, I just pay it. I mean, luckily it's like 20 quid a year, so I can go in there and just have the best hot dog, just basically for free. But my god,
yeah,
like it changed my life. It really did. Like when I was like, oh, I'll have a hot dog. Yeah, it's only like quid, like £1.50, something like that. I was like, oh, it can't be that good. Have you audibly? Like, oh.
Have you had a Chicago style dog? I mean, this probably isn't something they sell over there.
No.
So a Chicago style dog, like, usually you get like a steamed bun. Sometimes it has like poppy seeds on it, right? If you like buy a higher end bun, then you get like sort of the Vienna Frank, which would be like your all beef like hot dog. It's got sports peppers or pepperoncinis, like the yellow. Slices of tomato, mustard. I think that's it. It's actually it's tasty.
Yeah. So the pepperoncinis are amazing.
Yeah. It's the pepperoncinis make it for me. I think you might do a slice of pickle too next to it. I seem to recall a slice of pickle.
lengthways.
Like a pickle spear. Yeah, pickle spear. Yeah, you do the pickle spear. You've got a pickle spear in there too.
Yes, I think I have had one of those actually. To be fair,
Onions.
I didn't know it was a dog.
Yeah, we call it a Chicago dog. Sports peppers.
Liking the direction that this is going in. I'm getting more and more hungry by the minute.
Yeah, I forgot to eat this morning because I still had some prep work to do for the show, and so it's just like we keep talking about food. I'm like, You'd think I would learn. No, like now I want to eat pizza, a Chicago dog, a full English breakfast, some poutine because I happened to mention poutine once. Which
poutine.
I'm surprised poutine is Canadian and not American because it sounds like the most American thing ever. French fries, cheese curds, gravy.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, nope, that one's Canadian. Canada did that one. That's them. Good job, Canada.
My sister lives in Kingston, just across the water from Buffalo, and she doesn't like cheese, so she doesn't eat it. I'm like, can we just swap? I don't want to live in Canada, obviously, but I want poutine on tap where it's actually decent. And she's like, oh, I mean, who actually likes melted cheese? Are we related? Like, I'm sure one of us is adopted. Like, it's just mental. Like,
my favorite poutine, like in Wisconsin, shut down. The place shut down. They didn't survive COVID, basically, and I will never get my duck confit poutine ever again. Where it had like the confited duck, where it's like, like shredded and cooked in its own juices until it. Oh, it's like basically like the duck equivalent of pulled pork, and it put on. Oh.
Especially with coffee in duck fat as well. Oh man, I'm hungry. It's like 11:15 where we are, and I'm thinking like, can I just nip on Deliveroo? Like, just get something going. Like, I've already eaten. I'm not hungry.
We're hungry. Let's all just like get to the poutine. Get a poutine truck to drive up. Let's send Meph all this food. Apparently the CEO of Costco threatened to kill a new CEO when he was going to change the price of hot dogs and soda meal. Get out. Yeah, like keep that stuff low. Keep it affordable.
Yeah. I'd do it. I'd pay it. Like I say, blank check. Just give me it. How much is it going to cost? Doesn't matter. Give me. I'm not bothered. It's like when I saw the new dragon, the Stormcast dragon.
Yeah.
I don't care how much that is. Honestly, it could be £1,000. I'm like, yeah, just give me one. I don't care. I'm on. Like, I'm destruction through and through. But I'm like, I can stick an ogre on top of that.
You do like a good monster, though. You do like a good monster.
I love them, mate. I mean, there's so many
for sure. Monsters.
Yeah. Stick an ogre on it, call it Frostlord, it's fine.
Yeah. You could stick a Celestial Hurricane on the back and call it a Hurricane. No, we wouldn't want anyone to use a Hurricane using the original model. Now, would we? That would be weird.
Why would you? Why would you?
Yeah. So we have a running joke in Team JustPlay chat about Celestial Hurricaneums, in that you never see a Celestial Hurricaneum that's like the actual model.
Yes.
Like no one uses it. Everyone gets the model, assembles just the Hurricaneum bit off the back, and glues it onto absolutely anything else that they can find. It could be a tree man, it could be a steam tank, it could be some legs out of Warhammer 40k, it could be a pile of magic cards, it could be a tree, it could be some terrain that anything move or teleport or some related bollocks. It can literally be anything. People will glue a Hurricaneum to anything, and loads of them look great. But somewhere along the line, someone's just got to use a Hurricaneum as a Hurricaneum, surely, right? I'm one of them. My Hurricaneum is a Hurricaneum, and therefore I have the most unique Hurricaneum on the planet by just using the original model.
Do you remember when they brought out that box with the 2 Hurricaneums in?
Yeah.
That sells a single one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people bought that and then threw away twice as much plastic as they would have thrown away if they'd just bought one copy of the Hurricaneum.
Just buying sprues to put in the bin.
Yeah.
Hurricaneum as a car hood ornament. Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Real quick, a couple donations coming in. Rocco, your boy, Rocco, your girl would love this for her Nighthaunt. Donation $50. Thank you so much. Give me the big boy, says Dan Caravan with a $5 donation. Ty saying a Megagargant has entered the chat, $5. Thank you so much for the $50, Princess Wigglebum. The Lord Whale, Pepsi Milk, trying to make it happen, $5, and Dark Elf Sorceress with with For the Memes and $25 trying to make it happen. The dream is alive, everybody.
Brilliant.
If you want to put me through, you want me to suffer. It's all right. I suffer for you, chat.
Suffer for everybody else.
For everybody, yeah, so that you don't have to. And
so I've just remembered before we went off on a 25-minute chat about
food.
Food again. Martin Orlando asked a question about, is the secret to being good at Age of Sigmar just playing lots of other people who are good at Age of Sigmar? And obviously, that is good, all right? If you can find a bunch of people who are really good and play with them and get them to beat you every week, that's really good. That's one of the reasons it's also good to go to tournaments, right? Is you don't learn anything quite as much as you learn from just going to a tournament and letting a bunch of tournament players beat you mercilessly. Like, if you've got the mindset to learn that kind of stuff. But I would say, no, you don't have to have a local club with loads of good players in. You can all learn together. Is a thing that people forget. It's just like the act of all discussing each other's lists and having those chats and actually like trying to do stuff better. Whether doing stuff better just involves listening to a podcast or whatever, but doing it as a group, that act of like trying to all pull each other up, because that's what we do. I think we're genuinely a team. Like, when we do stuff, we do it all together all the time. We do everything together, and I think that's the thing. You know, like people who want to go and pay for coaching or whatever, which I don't think is a bad idea. By the way, some people find that weird. I don't. It's like
you know, like get paid however you can. You know, like whatever.
You want to pay, you want to pay people to teach you stuff. Go for it. But like the best way, I would say is just find a few friends who also want to try to do better in tournaments. And you don't have to dedicate a lot of time to it. You just open WhatsApp while you're doing work or something, and you have to dedicate some cognitive cycles to it, but you don't have to dedicate a lot of like actual. You don't have to sit down with a piece of paper and write lists out or anything. Just get a group of people, criticize each other's stuff. Don't be afraid to say, I think that looks crap. You know, like get in the competitive mindset together, practice your lists together, go to a tournament, and see how you all do. But just play as a group.
Well, I think that play as a group and play with purpose. I think it's really like playing with purpose or practicing with purpose is essential to improvement. Like it's just it's a necessary component. There's something to be said for having humility as you're trying to climb, because you do see these people who think that they are great, and then they go out into the wild and then they get kind of like stomped on a little bit, and they have to like. Again, you have to have that moment where you're like, I'm either going to learn from this or I'm going to shrink from this. So like that happens in healthy doses in all of your experiences in whatever you're doing. Competitive, it's like
it happened with me and Jim. We've known each other for 20 years. He's my best mate. Love him to pieces. He started doing Warhammer, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, something like that. And he basically dragged me into it. He bought me a Mega Boss on foot, ruined my life. And like we started out going to the local Games Workshop in Liverpool. After maybe 5-6 weeks of playing, like he started about 6 months before me. So after I've been playing for about six maybe 2 months, something like that, and we're doing these like little one-dayers at the shop and that kind of stuff. And we wwere already like at a point where we're just better than everyone else. And it was like, there has to be something more out there. There has to be. So we went to a tournament. I didn't play in the first tournament, but I went with Jim to go watch him at the first tournament, and he got absolutely battered, like smashed. Like, if you know who Les Martin is, do you know who Les Martin is? He's part of the Facehammer team.
I haven't listened to Facehammer just yet.
Facehammer. So Les is what, like, he's one of the England players. He was on the selection committee with me last year, and he was Jim's game 5, and he absolutely just smashed him to pieces. Like, it wasn't even funny. The game was over after about 20 minutes, and it was just like, wow, that was hellacious.
Like a really rude awakening type moment where you're like, you're going, and you're just like, wow. You find yourself in the bottoming out part of the Dunning-Kruger effect, where like you're pretty good, but you don't know what you don't know until that moment. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. I mean, it was when it was AOS 1 when hunters were like a big thing, you know, with the size and stuff, and it was, you know, coming out the trees and out the woods, and just, you know, and Jim was like vanilla feck back in the day before the good book came out, and he's running around with the terror guys. No, it's all fun and games, blah blah. Shop, and it was just like, oh my god, and that's when you're like, oh, so that's a competitive player. And it was like, right, okay, so we need to find someone better than who we were playing. And no disrespect to them, but like they were just hobbyists. They were like, I like this model. I'm gonna buy and paint it and play at the shop. So we then started having a look for slightly more competitive avenues. And then we found JustPlay on, I think it was a Facebook forum or something. So we went to a one-dayer, and that was when you guys were upstairs, in the building that you're in now. And again, it was like, oh, this is competitive. Like this, we just got the bug, and then obviously, like within about 6 months, a year, we're on the team. We're going to tournaments together, and just before lockdown, we went to Element Games Grand Slam, so it's called Eggs in the UK. There was like 60 people there,
yeah,
and 15 of them were JustPlay. So we all had shirts on, and we're all turned up, and I mean we were like rampant. I think top tables, game 5. I think there was like 6 of us in the running to win it. It was just like it was brilliant to be part of the team, but like we were like, wow, like we're actually quite good, because when we're playing each other, it's like you just get your ass handed to you. I played Jim, and I mean last time I played Ian at his house, like I mean it was the Iron Drakes. Got smashed by -3 Iron Drakes, and I'm like,
the Iron Drake incident of 2019.
right behind him. At that table, just behind him, right there. That was where my
that was where the massacre happened. Like right there, there's still a chalk outline of the ghost of you. Yeah.
It was when Big War was at its prime, right? And there's me with Double Maw Crusher, Pigs, all the rest of it. Got everything in combat, smashed it. It's like, oh, it's -3 Ren. This is 5 damage. Oh, it's all good, blah blah blah. And it is just like, okay, so I've got like 45 left. I'm like, what are you gonna do? And just everything died. I'm like, huh. Sweet. Roll for turn 2, and I just got absolutely annihilated. It was like, okay, like so. But you just if you, it's like anything, right? If you want to get better, you need to be able to take the punches and go, okay, I know not to do that next time.
Right.
And it's like I say to my mates and stuff, like if you've got a beautiful wife, or you've got a beautiful girlfriend, you have to be. Other people are going to find them attractive. You've got to just accept it. And it's the same thing. Like you just got to accept that. Yeah, you're going to get your ass handed to you. But if you come against someone who isn't a Masters player, and you're like, oh, they're going to do this thing, and it's going to be really complicated, and they just move the guy forward into the middle and go, I've taken that objective. You know, okay, well, I'm now going to smash you. I'm going to have to do it with a smile, because otherwise you're going to go off crying. So, it's great. Like honestly, it's great. Like playing on hard mode all the time, and then you play against normal people, and it's like
normal people.
Great. But just
I know.
None of that's to say that by any means we're all the best players around. I mean, we're all certainly capable.
No, you can. Like it's your block. You can be like, we're the best. It's like for this moment, it's true. It's fine. No, I just want people to. I like for people to have like a perspective. I think perspective is everything.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, and yeah, just I mean, in the context of going back to the question is, the best way to get better is just to work on it. That's and that again, no different than else in life. Work on it, and if you've got support and help from a bunch of other friends who also all want to work on it together, you'll do well. And you all play together, and your level goes up and up and up, and you might not notice it because your whole group's getting better. But then suddenly you go to a tournament and you're playing against a bunch of other groups who don't put as much time in as you do, and you'll find that all of a sudden you're winning games. You're like, wow, that was easy, or wow, I lost a game to a player who I really think is a really good player, but it was close or whatever. Your level comes up, and you don't realize sometimes how good you're actually doing. I think
this happens with painting too. The really good easy corollary or like a really good sort of other thing to look at that parallels that is like with painting. Like you're painting and you keep looking at your own models and your own models and your own models, and you tunnel on them. You don't necessarily see the difference between model 1 and model 70 and how much better it got. Like you don't see that because it was gradual to you.
Incremental difference.
It was such an incremental thing that if you look at any two next to each other, but if you look at model 1 versus 60, if you were painting to get better rather than just to get it done or just to bang them out, like I get that too. That's important too, being efficient. But if you painted 1 through 60 and said that I want these to get better, and then you sit there and you look at it and you go, I don't know that this is better. Well, look at 1 versus 60, not the like incremental changes. Take your step out of it. Take your stuff out into the world. See the people at their different snapshots and their journeys of getting better at painting and stuff, and you can see how much you've improved. I mean,
I also think it's like army choice as well. So me personally, I went from Iron Jaws, play on hard mode with Gordrak like an idiot, and then I moved on to Gits because again I thought look for punishment. Why not? So when the book came out, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna paint 100 grots. Yeah, of course I am. Yeah, why not? Have a mixed list. Got absolutely battered. And then I went to Squigalanch, and Squigalanch went pretty well to be fair, but you're just like middling 3 and 2, just same thing. Win your first game, lose your second game, win your third game, lose your fourth game, win your fifth game. Oh, it's 3 and 2 again, and that's how it was. I felt like I plateaued, and then my fiance bought me a Beastclaw Raiders box by mistake, and I was like, well, you bought me half an army, so I might as well see what the rest of it does. And honestly, like it when you just have that epiphany and you're like, oh, this is how I want to play Warhammer.
I think
I was running early. It was just
it's finding a style that works for you. I mean, say what you will about like confirmation bias and how empowering that can be, but finding a style that plays for you when you start to play with confidence, because it's the style you like that just vibes with you. It helps you see game decisions that you wouldn't normally see, or it helps you make the right decision more assertively or quickly so that you get to the other parts in your decision branches. Like it's not, I don't think it exists in like total esoterica that you got to find the spirit of the army that jives with you. I think it's actually very concretely like a literal thing that occurs is when you find that army that you click with, it kind of helps unlock. And yeah, like the army's got to have the tools to compete. It's got to be this tall to ride. But you've got two armies that are both at like, measure within like degrees of the same sort of level of competitiveness, and one's your playstyle and one's your not. I would posit 9 out of 10 times you're going to play better with that one that is your playstyle.
Massive.
Like
massive. Like I say, with the Beastclaw, like I just did it for a laugh. Like it was just like, oh yeah, we'll see what happens. Thought ogres were a bit weak. I'd ran Gutbusters. I borrowed them from Jim, and just hated them. Just didn't like them at all. So I got this box, and I was like, I can't take it back because it's a present. So I'll build them and see what happens.
I love that.
And like I played my first game, and I was like, oh, I just quite like that. And then I was like, right, I want to play something a bit harder and that kind of thing. It scaled up to the point where I was like, literally, can you bring your change host? Jim, can you bring your your Deepkin list that you won the GT with or whatever? And it just kept winning, and I'm like, oh, and that helped. I mean, obviously,
the confidence,
practicing against and stuff.
Well, confidence helps you.
Me and Ian had massive discussions about the difference between Yorbad and Earlbad. And that was like 3 months of us talking about it. I tried
it's
both.
Such a shame that battalions were removed before you ever realised you were doing it wrong as well.
I mean, it's one. I took it to one tournament, and I went 3 wins and 2 draws. But the 2 draws were against JP, who's an England player, and Toby Meadows, who runs Hellstorm Wargaming. He does 40k, but he's one of the best players I've ever played in my life. Like he is unbelievable. He's currently 3-0 at Carnage, with Iron Jaws, with two cabbages and some pigs. I mean, I don't know how he's doing it.
Monsters are good.
He's a magician. So, it was one of them where I just turned up and was
I took it to one tournament and qualified for the Warhammer Grand Final. So, my battalion choice is objectively the correct one. and now the battalions don't exist anymore. So
you won. Yeah, you won. You won 2.0. You had the correct read on it. Yeah.
I'm gutted Earlbad's gone though. Like, oh, what a battalion that was. Oh my god. I'll be telling my kids about that battalion. I can tell you, like, I'll be sat around the fire, and he'd be like, "Dad tells a story," and I go, "I'll tell you the story of the day that I realised that Earlbad was amazing. 6s to hit immortals," and they'd be like, "We've heard this story before, Dad." I go, "Yeah, I know. I've definitely got Alzheimer's." So that's all I can remember. Who are you? So...
The thing is, like with battalions, I feel like whether you cared about what happened to battalions or not is utterly army dependent. So I've traditionally been a death player. We don't really get good battalions. Like we have very stiff, like battalion. What's that?
Deathmatch.
Death March was a good one. Yeah, Death March was the exception though. It was kind of the exception that proved the rule because you looked at how good Death March was in its time versus how not good everything else was, and even when playing Death March.
What was that one we had Morghast and they were the like
Grand Cohort or whatever?
Yeah, that's the one. Like that was always one where it was always bad, but then whenever you play it, you're like, oh, for God's sake, like, and you just got these two dudes like sat behind the gaff, and you're like, I'm gonna have to kill all that. That's so annoying. Like,
yeah. Well,
it was probably inefficient, but that's so annoying.
I think, as with most things, I just don't care about balance at all within particular armies, whether it's an army I play or not. I just think everything should be balanced regardless. And I think it's a shame that they gave up on battalions rather than just try harder with them. There's no... we were talking about elites before, now they've just historically completely failed to balance elites, and they've also failed to balance monstrous things like ogres and croxigors. They've also failed to balance cavalry. They've pretty much failed to balance everything, actually, that wasn't a unit of men on foot. So, when you look at it holistically, it's actually worse than that. And I think they've just never... Wound efficiency is the thing they've never got. When you boil it down to the root cause, the wound efficiency is always the problem. It's the same in 40k. But battalions, when you look at them throughout books historically, and we've talked about this for years on the podcast and other stuff we've done, there's never been any kind of pattern. Like, you get one book that's got a ton of battalions with interesting abilities where they can make them one drop and the battalions are all super flexible. And then you get a book where there's like 4 battalions and each of them has got like fixed units. And you're like, okay, maybe they're going in that direction now. Mm-hmm. And then the next book comes out and they're back to flexible battalions again that let you one drop and it's like, it's all, and the points cost, you had incredible battalions for 100 points and absolute awful unplayable battalions for like 180. And it's like, they've never put any time into thinking about battalions. And I honestly think could have done a lot better if they just had a system for them.
Battalions are one of... So I do have some background in game design, usually on the video game side of stuff, and then I kind of compile that with just my tons of experience playing games and being a writer. And, writing is... it's... People don't realize how, like, mechanical writing is. You read this brilliant piece of literature and it makes you have all the feelings, and people are like, art is all about feelings. I'm like, like, art has a lot of steps that make it work. Like, there's a structure to a narrative and all these things. So you can see, like, the structure of rules once you get, like, locked in on other things. You spend enough time around rules, you spend enough time designing systems, and you start to, like, pick up on things like this. Battalions are the one thing that I've never been able to figure out their madness on. It's just there's a certain level of, like, okay, I see how you think that could cost 180 points when I look at an elite unit. I've never figured out what their internal logic was on battalions ever.
Yeah.
Like
there was the cavalry thing and all that is consistently wrong in a consistent way. So when you
they have like a system there,
Yeah, exactly. You can tell they got a system, and like we were saying earlier, that it's just a system and the maths is off. Like with cavalry have almost always been sort of 20 or 40 points overcosted, and it's never like 100 or 50. It doesn't vary that much. It's always 20 or 40 points overcosted.
Right.
So they've got some algorithmic thing they're doing that's wrong.
Right.
Whereas battalions just wild.
Yeah, book to book, within the book itself, like, you'll see the best battalion be the cheapest one and give the most stuff, and then you'll see another one that just like, what are you...
And then people come out with all these arguments like, oh, they've obviously tested it, and it's an internal balance thing why they've done that, and it's just all a bunch of crap.
Well, like Change Host exists. Like, you're like, that's one of those things, like, I can prove that's wrong immediately, because the best thing was also like within its own book was like, I don't mind when a best thing emerges within battle tomes. I've always defended, like, there's always going to be a best thing. The best thing can change meta to meta, time to time, but there will always be a best thing. Like, you can't be like, this thing's the best, we need to nerf it. Well, then something else will become the best thing. Like, this is a race to nowhere. But, like, go ahead.
My argument on that is always like, there's always going to be a best thing, but there doesn't need to be such a gulf between the best and the worst.
Yes.
Like, the level between tier 1 and tier 2 and tier 3 doesn't need to be such that a tier 3 army cannot possibly ever win a game against a tier 1 army.
Right.
Like, you can. There's always going to be a best, but there doesn't need to be that big a difference. And I think, to be fair, in the latter stages of the realistic time we were playing AOS 2, a lot of the armies weren't at the bottom of some gulf. There was the thing that I think
there's a couple outliers just like down in the valley.
Like, there was some genuine S tier armies, but there was lots of armies in that zone where some were better than others, but they could all.
You mean compete. The fat middle, as Vince called it?
Yeah, exactly. There was lots in the fat middle, and I think the fat middle itself wasn't that far below the S tier as well. And I think that was the best it's ever been, certainly since I've been playing Age of Sigmar. Even though it was far from perfect, it was better.
Mm-hmm. Well, perfection is something to aspire towards. You'll never achieve it, though. So perfection is something to aspire towards. It's not something to be achieved, Like, and never let perfection be the enemy of good. It's okay to just be good. Continue.
I certainly think if they, had a much bigger team of game designers and a much bigger team of dedicated tests and stuff, they could do better. Like, for sure. Which, again, not want to bang on about the subject. It's a weird thing for them not to invest in my opinion. I have more product people working for me than as far as I am aware, the whole of Games Workshop's rules team have.
And that's
I work in software development. It's like, there's no reason why, with the size they are and the amount of money they have, they don't have like serious teams of people involved in this stuff.
Well, you'd help the teams that exist there too. You make their jobs easier and more focused. That's the thing is, I always talk to Heywoah and I, if we were like a team that you would hire, I'm gonna be your writer. He's gonna be your developer. You're going to want me to go off the rails and write the crazy rules and go over the top and look at the model and be like, I think this works this way, so on and so forth. And I'm going to be like, yeah, hand it to us. Like, perfect rule for Nagash. And as I write it on a 2-up, the thing's dead because he's the god of death. And then Heywoah would get my thing that I write, and he'd go, not a 2-up, and like, how do I balance this mechanically in the game? Like, you shouldn't... by having a writer who is simultaneously writing and developing, because they have to worry about balance as well as flavor, they have to worry about possibilities as well as reining it in. You're asking them to do two inherent contradictions at the same time. If you want things to be creative and interesting and expressive and over the top, like to be Warhammer, essentially is all I'm describing here. Like, you want it to be fucking Warhammer.
That is what we want. We don't want it to turn into chess. We want it to be Warhammer.
Right.
We just want it to be good Warhammer.
Right. And go ahead.
I don't know what their processes are on that. So
I don't pretend
I wouldn't want to comment on that kind of stuff. But what I do know is that there's no way, with the complexity of their job, which is balancing all these disparate things and keeping things balanced that have been released 2 years ago in the face of more releases that have happened since. Mm-hmm. There's no way they can possibly do it with just having a couple of guys on a rules team, which, as far as I understand, have wider experiences, wider responsibilities than just Age of Sigmar as well. So, I know, like Sam, one of the rules writers, when I've spoken to him at Warhammer World, he works a lot on AOS, he works on AOS books, but he also, designed Warcry, and he also works on a bunch of other stuff. And, the sheer volume of things these guys have to work on and the different rule systems they have to keep in their head, and then you think about the number of codexes and change that gets released, plus all the upcoming stuff that's done years in advance or whatever that we don't know about.
Yeah.
There's no possible way that a few people can do all that and get it all right. And, to me, when I see that,
this makes them sympathetic to me, honestly. Like,
I look at capacity and just say, we need more people to do that. And I will just go out and hire more people.
Yeah. And, you're an $86 billion corporation. Like, I think you could afford a few more. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you only pay them 19 grand a year. You can afford a lot more.
What I find super, what I always appreciate about your takes, Ian, is like, you and Richie own a store together. You have more than me. You have skin in the game for these products to be good and sell well. If Warhammer sucks or is great, my podcast continues, and I get into the outrage merchant business, which is so much easier. I just make hot takes all day, and get mad at everything that comes out. But like, and then I'm fine. My point is, I am fine to create content. But you have a stake in this game being good. So when you go out and say something prescriptive, negative, good, bad, otherwise, you stand to like, kind of harm your business, your vested interest. So it takes a lot of courage to be able to do this, to do what you do, which is, again, have that business, wear the hat, to be vocal about it. You kind of live by the sword, die by the sword with your content. And I think that's really admirable. It's something I've always really, really respected about you.
Yeah, I think
I'll jump in before Ian goes. I'll say that I think because of the honesty, I think it actually builds a better brand, because you're not just going, oh, everything's great, buy my stuff. It's, this is great, and this is the reason why, and I'm going to help you improve as a player.
Right.
And I have a store. So like it's not like it's not an advertisement. It's an honest, factual, and like I've been listening to podcasts since day one, and like honestly, it's one of them where you listen to it and go, yeah, like this is great, and it inspires you indirectly to come to the store rather than buy this thing. It's dead good, and I'll let Ian jump in, but like as someone who I've been on the podcast a couple of times, but I'm a listener, and I go to the store for everything, so.
Yeah. Well, the other side of that too is, by the way, like I talk about, like competitive players have the health of casual in mind too. If I come into, I just imagine like a slightly different me coming into Ian's store and being like, I'm obsessed with Bestigors, right? Like I'm just obsessed with them, right? And I want to buy them. And I see them there, and he has them on the shelf, and I'm surprised. And like he's gonna be like, they're crap, right? Like maybe not say it that way, but like they're not. Like I'm gonna go up to him and be like, are these good in the game? And he's gonna be like, yes or no, right? And my passion for good models, I'll still buy the freaking model if I want it. Like people will buy. I saw Ossiarch Bone Reapers. I saw Soulblight Gravelord stuff. Like I have a dragon that I don't own. I have a couple order models, but only as like that were handed to me to test paint and practice on, but I don't like own order model I've spent my own cash money on. I'm gonna buy a stupid dragon because I'm in love with the sculpt, and I don't care about the rules. I'll make it work for my army. That's a strength of Warhammer, is you do have that ability to sell things on the model, but that doesn't mean you should neglect the rules, and it certainly doesn't mean as a business transaction you should lie to people about the reality of it. I mean, that's just not cool. And you can trick a customer once. You can't keep tricking a customer. Like you can't keep tricking them.
Well, I mean, other than the moral side of it, which is a driver, because we don't want to be lying to people, which is obviously a thing. But I honestly believe in the way we've always done our stuff is, and sort of the reason JustPlay started in a lot of ways was because when we used to play games, a lot of people used to play them with us. We used to drive a lot of these games forward ourselves. We were like, well, why don't we have a shop? And it's sort of the same thing now. You do have to gauge what people are there for when they come into the shop. I mean, I don't work in the shop anymore for clarity, but I used to, obviously.
Yeah.
But you have to gauge what people are there for. Like, if someone comes in and says, I love the Bestigors, and you have a little chat to them, and they are literally never going to play a game of Age of Sigmar outside of their kitchen table, then there's no point talking to them about whether they're good or bad. But I honestly believe that 98% of Warhammer players care if their army is good or bad, because nobody wants to buy an army, paint an army, put it on a table, and have chosen to play Beast of Chaos, and the other person has chosen Lunar.
No, I'm kidding.
And you take all their models off the table on turn one. No one wants that experience. Well, you only have to look back at when Age of Sigmar first came out and it didn't have points. You didn't have a massive section of the community saying, we're okay with no points, we're narrative players, we don't care. Narrative-only players also cared. Everyone cares about points. It's not just a competitive thing. You want balance because you want to have a fair game, maybe even more so at the non-competitive end of things. Well, no, for different reasons, but you want to have a fair game against your friend. If you're going to spend your afternoon having a game, you want it to be a good one.
You want to have fun. Games are meant to be fun, and one-sided games are rarely fun. Sometimes you can get into that mindset where you're like, if I'm testing something, I just want to see if my wacky idea works, and then like
Oh,
it
yeah,
gets
yeah,
slapped
yeah,
down, and I'm just laughing the whole time because
yeah.
that's different. But like you're not wrong on the average aggregate on the person who comes in. Like I understand I self nerf sometimes. I run like I my rule of thumb is you get one pet unit, you know. Like you can you just love this model, and like if you want to still be competitive, know that it's going to be a liability, but like that's okay. People, it's about the degrees, the gulfs, the gaps between. I'm cool with putting my own gap in there, but I want to know when I buy something, I'm going
Yeah.
to play the game. And
Yeah.
with some of those gulfs, you don't get to play the game, and that's not fun.
What
Games are supposed to be fun. Go on, sorry.
what I would always put to Games Workshop, and particularly, if I was to ever have a conversation with someone where they said we don't like the way you decry our products or something like that, I would put to them that we could sell more. If we're just talking about business, we could sell more of their products more easily if the game rules were better. That is simple. Slaanesh, the Slaanesh release. So if you don't know what happens in game stores around Games Workshop models, particularly on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. when Games Workshop release their stuff, we make 80% of our sales for the week in the first 30 minutes on that release, and for the rest of the entire week, the following 7 days effectively, we only make about 20% of our sales of Games Workshop models for the week. So all of our sales are based around Games Workshop's releases, and that's the buying pattern that people have in Games Workshop, and a lot of other products as well. And so what happens when games work, and again, the great majority of people aren't competitive players. The great majority of people who shop from us are not any people that I've ever heard of or interacted with or played the game of Warhammer with or seen on Twitter. They're just people who play Warhammer with their friends. That's the major audience.
I mean that is, and
When the
there's
Slaanesh
something wholesome and
release-
great about that too. So yeah,
Yeah, and,
continue.
and that's brilliant, and that is the audience. I think most people know that or should know that, is that we are not the primary audience.
Yeah.
But this is part of the argument, right? Is the counter to our argument is often, well, you're not the primary audience, so your opinion doesn't matter. And the point I'm making is it does. When the last Slaanesh book came out, and the new model range came out, which was a phenomenal model range, right? If we're only buying things for models, you will have bought Blissbarb Archers, you will have bought Slangors, you will have bought all those new amazing Slaanesh models.
Gorgeous.
Do you know how many individual items from the Slaanesh range do you think we sold in that 80% of our sales for the week period of 30 minutes on that Slaanesh release weekend? And bear in mind, we're not the biggest store in the UK, but we're probably in the top 10.
I couldn't even hazard a guess, because I'd imagine like there was interest to buy early, but as people lost faith in the models, it dropped off. So
yeah, maybe. And a lot of people don't pay attention to content either, right? They just go and read, are these models any good or not, and that's all they do. They don't like go in depth.
right, they don't do the yeah. Okay.
We sold two items. We sold two. That's £4.50 worth of profit or something like that for the week. And if we're just basing this on business decisions, if we assume that Games Workshop are only in it for the money, why would you want to release a product that sells so poorly? I'm not saying we're a perfect example. Other shops might have sold a lot more than us. There might be some outliers, etc. But I would assume that is largely reflective of the general mood. We sold two items. We actually sold a box of Slangor and a Battle Tomb, and that was it. That was all we sold. No one bought Blissbarb Archers. No one bought Blissbarb Seekers.
You think it was related to the rules, like to the lack? Yeah.
They were so bad. The rules were so bad, and so unbalanced, and also so boring. That's another problem. This thing I keep saying about it's a shame. All those Slaanesh models are just dull, like super dull.
Yeah, I too bought my dice.
Nice.
Dice.
Yeah, but Slaanesh know what they did. Right, the last book was so egregious. They know what they did. This is what they have to deal with.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like the negative play.
I hate that. I hate that mentality.
So bad. Like when you see every tournament getting taken out by the same list and keepers coming back, and I'm going to throw 3 keepers away and then get 3 keepers back, and you're not going to get to my vice leader, so it's cool, and they all come back and like on a 2-up you can't attack, and all this stuff. Like was always going to be that whiplash. It should have been this bad. Nowhere near.
Yeah.
It should
It
have been bad
wasn't
at all.
even the same model range though. It was brand new,
Yeah, brand new
absolutely
models.
incredible models.
Yeah.
That we all wanted.
Some of the best sculpts I've ever seen.
But it's the stigma though, isn't it? It was that like, oh, Slanesh is coming out, and they needed to not do it again. I'd be worried for the next Flesh Eaters because of the Gristle Gore General was so egregious.
Well, I feel like they got slapped in the wrist every single year until it wasn't a problem anymore, and then they just kept slapping them anyway.
But I think in their head they'll be going, we can't let that happen again,
so they'll be gun shy and cowardly and making cool rules.
Yeah. Me and Richie have this like recurring story where we played at one of the Warhammer World Heats, and we were playing against each other, and he was Sylvaneth and I was Git. We just didn't kill anything for 2 hours. And one of our mates, who's going to join the team quite soon, called Max, he's part of the England setup. He was playing against a guy, and this guy charged a load of change into his Crystal Lord General. Max goes, wouldn't do that. And the guy's going, why are you trying to get my head? And he's like, well, I get to go before you go, even though you've charged, and I go twice. And the guy looked at me and Richie, because obviously he knew that Richie was part of the podcast and all that kind of stuff, and we were wearing the same t-shirt. He's like, is that right? And we're like, check his battle tome, mate. So we literally read it on the battle tome. He's like, well, that's busted. And we're like, yeah, it is. Yeah. Sorry, like you can't do anything now because your Lord of Change needs to kill that thing. It can't. So, like, and it was so bad for so long. So, I'd be like kind of bracing myself in a similar. I mean, hopefully by I think battle tomes recently, apart from Slanesh, have got better in the sense that like there's not that kind of like, oh well, this is the only thing that's busted and
well, there's an internal I'm not being performative here as the death guy. I genuinely believe the Soulblight Gravelords is one of the best battle tomes they've ever printed. I mean, incredible. Which is the opposite feeling I had for LON, where I was like giddy about it because I love death, but then I'm like, there's 2 good models in this whole book, and the best model in it isn't in this book; it's in someone else's book. You know, like in terms of like units, War Scrolls. And I'm like, you know, like that makes you want to flip a table, but then also you have all this granular crap. You know, a bunch. We're different, but not better, and you know, it's just like it was so much print for so very little actual substance. Whereas I look at Soulblight Gravelords and I go through and I'm like, oh, I know a build for this. I know a build for this. I know a build for this, and I'm just like, it's just I hear the cash register noise over and over and over again in my head as I like think about all the armies I could potentially build, and not like I'm like, okay, there's like Virkos clearly the winner, right? Like that's you get to go. There's the best one, but I'm like, damn it, I bet you I could even make Castellet work. You know, and I'm like, I might not win a tournament with it, but like, man, I'd ruin like 3 people's day. Yeah, like you know, like
we've got 4 Soulblight players within our team, and they're all completely different armies.
Beautiful.
Like, it's different to Jim's.
Chef's,
Jim's is different
Chef
to
Kiss.
Vito's and Joe's. Like, so we've got a Castellet, we've got a Virkos, we've got Jim's Legion of Night. What are you, Ian?
Various, depending on which build.
I mean, this is a good time to plug it. The grand prize for the Rantathon, this whole 30 hours, if you donate $50 throughout, that could be 5 during 10 different blocks for all the various block prizes. That could be $25 for 2 different blocks. Whatever increments you donate throughout the whole thing. If you donate $50 total, I've got a rolling total in the Excel spreadsheet. I just see when the names that I like that highlight. I go, yep, hit 50 throughout the tournament. Boom, entered into the winning for the Soulblight Gravelords. That is close to 3,000 points worth of Soulblight. You can make a variety of lists, and we've taken some of the thinking out of it for you because Brendan, who just won Circle City Clash with them, has like a little mid. I call it like medium spice competitive build in there, where it's not the best the book's worth or capable of. It's not bad, but it's got some fluff, and it's in there so that you get a range of models on the table because it's yeah. So there it is. I plugged it. Continue. I'm sorry I cut you off. I had to sign up.
The thing about that as well is the way that army is. I don't agree that it's the best book. I think it's far from the best book. But the way the army is set up is it is never going to be not very good at Age of Sigmar unless zombies get significantly nerfed. it will never not be a really good book. It will be evergreen just because of the nature of the things that they've got.
They made Death into a toolbox army, which is just something that traditionally hasn't been available for Death. Like in my when I played since GHB 2017, like in my tenure with the game, like you've drowned people in skeletons, and it's just what the skin on the skeleton was changed, you know?
Yeah.
And that was it. You just drown people in skeletons, and
I think
it. Don't get me wrong, it's really fun to drown people in skeletons. It's like it's one of my favorite things. And like you can like make the meme list 180 zombies or whatever, but you're probably not going to. You're probably going to have like a fatty block of zombies, maybe a Gorslav, and then like really the rest of the list just. And you grab the zombies because the tool that they provide in the sort of like pile in and the just the way the game is played right now. The tool that they are is that running and 6-inch piling in, and then you're modulating through monster mash and a good backbone of skeletons here and there because they're sort of built to, if you don't wipe them, they're gonna hit you back. Like it's a really I really like the direction they took. Sorry.
I think I don't think I would call it 180 zombies a meme list. I think I would probably call it a very good list.
Sure.
That you probably don't want to have to play against.
Sure. Yeah. No. I mean, you're not wrong. Brendan, I think on his Cubic Shenanigans podcast is like, remember that like some TOs are just like you have to play against other people. So when you're building a list, you have to keep. I don't know how it is in the UK, but I know around here is like keep in mind that like we have our soft scores probably count for more than they should in actual tournament scores. I like it because it's a holistic vibe. I dig it. You know, obviously if you're going to a competitive event, the medal you care about then becomes generalship and not best overall. You know, you just shift your focus, your perspective, right? Like he's like, remember, you're going to have to play this list against some people, and people are just not going to like they're just not going to like you. And so you're probably not going to win. And we've had TOs just like remind people kindly, like, you got to play this in 2.5 hours. Do you really think you can do that?
You have to be able to play if you can't play a large army in a reasonable amount of time, you definitely shouldn't be playing the army, and a lot of people can't do that. But like, I don't know. I think I played 160 skeletons a few times when back in Legion and Nagash days, and I didn't enjoy it. But I'm gonna play 120 zombies on stream.
You monster! I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm gonna play 120 because I think that's the certainly, at least if you're doing an army that's got a lot of troops in it, there are builds where you don't need it, but I think the zombie based ones are the best. I think 120, 100 or 120, 40, 40, 20 or 340s is probably the correct number.
Yeah.
Without going too over the top, because if you do go too over the top, you do lose some of the support that makes them good. Since they lost their battalion, that gives them that built-in extra attack. I do think you need a bit more support, and you really want a zombie dragon in the army as well to take advantage of the gear rules as well. But I think 120. I think you'll see.
Yeah, 120.
Well,
Gorslav, corpse cart maybe. Like you're just racking up bonuses on them. Obviously, a necromancer.
Like mine's pretty much. I'm running 103 units of 40 zombies, 10 dire wolves as a wound bounce for Belladama, because I'm also running Belladama.
Probably the closest thing. Belladama's probably the closest thing to an auto include in the book. She's just
she's very
200 point wizard. This is what a 200-point wizard is. Like this is it. This is the template.
I think
Go on.
She especially that you've got Metamorphosis as a spell. I think that's cemented there as an auto include. I don't think she was before, but when you've got a fast model that effectively can't be killed with a bodyguard of wolves that can be a monster and run around and take objectives, then
and the force multiplication. The force multiplication is just. Yeah.
And then three. I've got 3 Fellbats after that, which is just a really good utility.
Yeah, like it.
And fantastic models as well.
Speed
just to either do the ether wing thing, basically. You throw them into the middle of the board to grab an objective, or you throw them into the opponent's half to score one of your battle tactics, or you just throw them into a unit of archers so they can't shoot you and they've got enough wounds not to die in the melee that leads up to that. You can also bring them back. So if that one utility unit of those is good, you keep bringing them back when they die. And then I've got like a zombie dragon.
Welcome back, by the way, Ian. Welcome
What's
back.
that?
Welcome back to death. It's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a zombie dragon in Virkos with Sang Siron for the extra D3 attacks. Hunter's Snare to count as 14 models, because that's a real number of models where you will just take objectives.
Yeah.
Which is even more important with the battle tactics, where the monster takes over with what's it called? Monstrous takeover.
Monstrous takeover,
yeah. Want to be able to score.
Yeah.
And then I've got 2 Necromancers.
You need the redundancy.
Everyone likes a bit of redundancy.
Yep.
A Vampire Lord, which is the most questionable thing in the list, because even though you really want that command ability for zombies, he can be shot off the board too easily.
Yeah, it doesn't have the protection. You can I mean,
you can't get him enough protection to be worth wasting artifacts on him.
Right.
He will still die. You know, you give him the Amulet of Destiny, he goes from an effective 5 wound model to an effective 8 wound model, and it's still not enough. Effective 7 or 8 wound model. Well, I think that's one of the things that's and Gorslav is in that army as well.
Yeah.
I think
why not? Gorslav's basically free if you're running zombies.
He is the auto include for me. He's got 75.
If you've got zombies, yeah. I mean, if you're not running a
zombies,
build with zombies, then you're not taking Gorslav.
But who isn't?
Yeah.
Who's looking at zombies and going?
Yeah.
Well, from a toolbox, you even want like a 20 block. You know, like it's just you kind of just want them in the list just to have that access. Yeah.
I mean, I would say
I like them better in 40.
Even if you're playing a Vengarai and you're running a bunch of dragons, you should probably still have a minimum of 2 units of 20 zombies, because what they give you, the number of bodies you get for 115 points in terms of objective taken, and even unbuffed, they do a good amount of damage for what they do.
I mean, they're made out of paper. They explode if anything looks at them.
Yeah.
That's fine.
They can play in the high armor meta as well. You know, there's not a lot of cheap chaff units that can play in a high armor meta, but they do mortal wounds. So, you know, they can also do a bit of stuff. But I think, like the biggest thing I like about Death for me right now is when we get back to full-blown Warhammer, we're just starting that now, shooting is still going to be a very big issue. And losing all your characters is going to be a very big issue. And all of Death's characters, you just can't shoot them off the board profitably. Belladammer, units of wolves, especially now that you can do Deathless Minions before the bounce, and then Deathless Minions again after the bounce with the new timing rules. So Belladammer with wolves, effectively unkillable, and if they do kill her, they've spent the whole turn doing it, and then you win the game. Necromancers, who wants to shoot a Necromancer now?
Nobody.
Like, no one's going to try to shoot a 125-point model that is effectively got, like, 20 wounds.
Yeah.
It's a crazy.
I used to argue against old LON. I'm like, actually do try to kill our Necromancer, and now it's like the amount you're investing in trying to take it off is just like, it's just frustrating.
Yeah.
It's
in old LON, it was worth it, but I mean that's one of the reasons I run 2 as well, because if you run 2, there is definitely no point trying to kill 1, because you won't get Van Hells off the table. So no, and that gives us the added benefit then of keeping the Necromancer around to issue commands to the zombies, which they obviously don't have a unit leader, so they can't do otherwise. So I think they're in a good spot. And then I've got an Arcane Tomb on one of those as well, so I'm casting like, I don't know, 5-7 spells a turn, and all my bring 3 zombies back spells go off on a 2. So
and the reroll in Virkos is nuts. Like, it's just nuts.
Exactly.
It's really what Death has wanted like its whole life, is just rerolling spells.
Yeah. Like, it's just a shame that it doesn't work on Necromancers, because that would be, it works on a very limited number of models actually, but like it's still a good ability.
Probably why it's balanced, like it's.
Yeah, maybe, and it's still Virkos has still got the best artifact, and the best artifact and command abilities, command traits as well, really. So. Yeah. So off on a death rant there. Looking forward to playing.
No, I'm happy you're back. I've missed you. Went over to Order for a little bit. Disgusting.
Yeah, well, the Stormcast, Death and Stormcast is my plan. Because I'm playing other games as well at the minute. I'm gonna
Tiny Tanks. Are you still playing Tiny Tanks? Playing with little Tiny Tanks.
I will be soon when we get back to normal. But I'm mostly playing Saga at the moment.
Nice.
Tiny historical men instead.
Absolute nerd.
But,
Absolute.
Yeah,
I mean, we're all nerds, but like that's like elite level.
Oh, I love it. I love it when you could drop a good nerd blast on another nerd because you're like, finally, I found someone nerdier than me, or who's like, I'm an Omni nerd, so like I have my hands in a lot of like different like cookie jars of the nerdery, and then like every now and then I find someone who knows something way nerdier or does something nerdier than me, and I'm just like, finally, you're the nerd in this room. Look at this. Look at this.
Just look how cool these guys are, though. Look at that.
You got to bring it down a little bit. I can't.
Is it too high?
No, it was just the donation trackers blocking it.
Oh, sorry, yeah. These guys are awesome.
Yeah.
Like, just,
absolute nerd.
So good.
You historical minis.
That's a level of nerd that I'm pretty certain I'm never going to get to. So
order starts with Gotrek, then you go from there. Yeah.
Also, Ian did go destruction for a bit, so I feel like I'm missing him, but at least I had a taste.
So I'm buying a vulture from destruction. See if you see you the destruction boss there. So I'm buying a vulture from destruction. I'm probably gonna make it into. Stay with me here. Either a Mortek catapult. I know. Or a mount for Xantos, and like maybe gnarl up its wings so it looks like it can't really fly.
Or a Celestial Hurricanum, right?
Or Celestial Hurricanum, or I'm just gonna take my Catacross and put it on top of the vulture. Yeah. Like it moves. I don't care that he only moves 4. Whatever. Like it's because the vulture has to carry all this awesome stuff. So I'm buying that. So I will have bought a destruction model with my money.
Sure.
But like, I'm not bought in on the destruction. I don't know. I don't have that. I'm just not cool enough. I think, like you just destruction retirement. Like, they call it, where like you play Warhammer enough and then we all eventually become destruction. But if I ended up with just like a box of like swamp boys or something like that, I think I might have to buy a whole destruction army. Like so. Like,
ooh, he's coming.
No. I've finally been tempted because the Cruel Boys. I think they just look so stunning, and I've got ideas. But go on.
They look amazing. Like I say, there is a WhatsApp chat for you. So if you do fancy like making a little foray in, join the chat. 10 minutes later, I expect an order and just play, because like it's all love in the Destro Bro chat. It's all love, because it's like the inmates running the asylum. Like, we're all nuts. Yeah. But it's cool because everyone knows we're all nuts, so it's fine.
Yeah, I love it.
Destruction, it's one of them where you know you're not the best. As in, like, order's always going to be...
Well, okay, I see. Like, volumetrically speaking.
Yeah, like, order's the one that gets all the love and all the shiny, lovely bits, and Chaos gets to just like, amalgam and just do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, there's just... It's hard to keep Chaos down because there's just the way that faction plays with itself.
Yeah.
It just
death is their own thing. So death and destruction are like yin and yang, right?
Yes.
So we're just taking turns being the worst.
Yep.
So that's what that is. You just gotta accept it, and once you've accepted it, it's that wave of like, it's like when you realise you're not Brad Pitt, right? And you go to a girl and you go to chat her up, and you're like, oh, I'm not the best looking, so I might as well work on my personality. You just get that like wave of like epiphany, like, oh yeah, like the freedom of knowing that you're not super sexy.
Yeah,
and that's destruction. You go. I've got a Deepkin army down there. I ran Deepkin, and it was like, oh, this is so good, blah blah. And then it gets a little bit tired and a little bit stale. And then I'm like, do you know what? I'm gonna go Squigs. I'm gonna go do it. I love a Mangler. I've got 2 down there. I need like 7. Like, I love them things. And once you've accepted it, and once you've accepted you're a Destro Bro,
yeah,
it's cool, man. Yeah. It's all good. Like, I mean, I've got every destruction army there, apart from Gutbusters, because they're just awful. Sorry, Mick. I just can't do it, mate. But yeah, apart from that, like, yeah, it's just one M. Like, you go into a tournament thinking it's a 3-2, 4-1. It's cool. No problem. I mean, I thought I was going to be the only one running Sons of Behemat in the UK.
No way.
And then they made Megagargant's battle line, and then everyone bought like 4 of them. I'm like, oh right, okay.
So, man, I hung a mission accomplished, told you so banner after 3.0 came out. I'm like, there's no way this army's not going to be good. And
that's a scary. It's 140 wounds. That's all you need to know.
Well,
like, average age of our army's 100.
Well, it's kind of like the IDK of this edition. You just need to be able to, if your army can't deal with 140 wounds on the table, you can't play 3.0 right now. You know, like, and that's kind of how, like, if you don't have a plan in your list to deal with this, you don't get to play 3.0. And that's just a reality everyone's living in. And not to say that they're OP or they're like, and that I don't like people taking my words out of context. I'm just saying this is it's a litmus test. If ever there was one.
It's a gatekeeper, isn't it? It's like, if you can't deal with this, then you go in at least 4-1.
Well, yeah.
You know, and
they can win tournaments. That's all they need. They've got enough damage, enough survivability. You know, they've got enough. They got high rend, which is even more important now. Their absolute damage output is not amazing, but high rend now is very good. Plus one's a hit, which you can get on tap, is a big deal for most destruction armies actually. So yeah, they're gonna be good. But you know who puts more than 140 wounds on the table?
Zombies.
Zombies.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we play, like off camera, obviously. I can't wait until we play.
Oh no, you got to play on camera because I want to see the face. But like, I want to see like, we saw shock and awe. I want to see like, I want to see the soul crushed on stream. Like, I don't know.
I don't think there's any way that Giants can beat zombies. I don't think it's winnable at all.
There's only somebody I can put in my pants. Maximum, it's like 4, and there's like 180 of them. So, I tell you what though, RIP Man Crushers, absolutely gutted. I got 10. I painted 10 like an idiot. Like, I was like, because the first list that I wrote was a War Stomper 9. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna do all the shooting. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna get 9 of them. Like, I'm gonna do them from each mortal realm, like a mentalist. Like, just went because I was like, oh, I'm locked down. I'm not doing anything.
Just go crazy.
Yeah, and then I've got 10 of them, and I'm like, I've got one of each Megagargant. I don't need anything else. A line comes out. I'm like, well, instantly that's one Megagargant bought straight, just literally like in the post straight away. And it was like, oh, what we're gonna do with these 10 Man Crushers? They're just dead. They're gonna gather the most dust. Them right next to the 100 grots that are literally like inch deep in dust now. So they never see the light of day. Why would they? Like, I give away a VP, they don't do anything, and they die really quick.
Yeah.
See you later.
Amazing.
So pretty good about that. But
yeah, I love Chat Gang getting in on this, like all their takes on stuff. I like gyrocopters of the future.
Gyrocopters have always been really good. I've got a little secret Cities of Sigmar playtesting group.
Keep it secret.
And they are very good.
We're not ready for you yet, Rocco.
We did a podcast like a couple of years ago when Cities of Sigmar came out. And me and him were like, should we do like a proper like in-depth one? We're like, yeah. And we had to cut it up into 2. It was like a 7-hour, like, it was basically a rantathon, where we were just like, and then we wrote like 15 lists, and like 13 of them had a gyrocopter. It's like 70 points. They do how much? It was just like bonkers good.
Oops, all gyrocopters.
Oops, all gyrocopters. Oh, as a Cities player.
All right, so
we've got into this, but hello everybody.
We've got I don't know. Did you pull yourself down?
No.
Oh, hang on. I'm gonna throw you back up in the green room. We still got about 10 minutes, so
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers, mate.
See you guys.
All right. So that does remind me, we've got about 10 minutes of this block left. So if you wanted to get in on the Megagargant with autographed meme picture of the new Face of Warhammer, go ahead, donate $5. Otherwise, there's also.
I love when that whole thing kicked off, right? I was like, hopefully no one sees it. And then you messaged me. You were like, oh, your new Face of Warhammer. And I was like, stop it. Like, you're absolute cutie. And then it literally just went, like, exploded.
So my power is that I just understand, like, it's dialectical analysis, man. Like, it's easy to do once you know it. Like, I'm just really good at, like, predictively understanding how Warhammer goes. It's kind of like, it's perhaps the Pepsi milk, really. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, this is it. Like, this is just... Tyler showed the receipts. It's his fault. It's because you're playing against Sylvaneth, and he was just... Again, there's a man, and he's the right man for his time and place, and I'm like, this is the time. Like, it had no... there was no way it wasn't going to, like, just explode, and I refused to let it not explode.
Well, to be fair, I love it. But one of the guys who's in the England team now, called Dan Bradshaw, he's been master before, like UK master. So me and him play Call of Duty together, and we obviously tease each other, and it's cool and everything. So every week that I've been on 3 times now, and every week that I've been on, he sends me 20 screenshots of me reacting, and I'll get you so up, but he'll like message me, he'll go, oh, you're a never-ending stream of like, you know, content or whatever, and it's just constant. Like,
the best part is like watching people add. the best part for me is watching people like add different like adding different text to the bottom of it, or like animating it to where like the screen shakes to be the intensifies, like but like the best part is going to be in like 3 years when like it's, you know, like it sticks around in like a couple groups and so on and so forth, but there's just going to be in like 3 years it'll be quiet, just around a little bit, like all memes tend to be, right? They all sort of, other memes show up. And then one day after like 3 years, it's just like going to show up again on like a thread or like a mega thread or something like that. And everyone's going to lose their mind all over again. You know,
can't wait.
I can't wait for that day when.
I've got some more. So this is one from 2 weeks ago. And it was like, honestly, it was like 40 degrees in that room. And I was sweating buckets and I was in a bad place. And basically, Ian stopped me from playing the game, and he didn't tell me about it, so I completely forgot about this whole piling thing. I'm just walking in there, oh, everything's great, oh, I'm fine. And I just didn't roll a dice for like an hour. So he sent me these photos, right? So can you guys see that? Yeah.
Just,
Here we go. One more.
Yeah.
All these ones.
Yeah.
Just over and again.
Did you know you were being photographed during this, or was it just like happening as...
That one I knew. I was like, don't screenshot me, and he screenshot me. So, don't screenshot me. Just over and over again. Just forever. Just forever going to be taking pictures of me, going, look how much of an idiot you look. It's going to be great.
No, the one where you're just like, that one's also great. I need that in my life.
I rolled double 1 on a charge.
Send that one to me so I can add text underneath it.
I'm on it.
Did you like the Bill Siren one? You're asked. I don't know if I'm familiar with the Bill Siren one. Amazing, great work, Ian, says Tyler Emerson. Big love to you, Tom. Legend. So Tyler.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah. So 7 minutes left. So donations will be closing up this block here. So the Megagargants and the Nighthaunt lot. Try to say that like Nighthaunt lot.
Nighthaunt lot. Nighthaunt lot.
Yeah,
it's easier with my accent, actually. Nighthaunt lot. I don't pronounce the H, so.
Yeah, that must be it. Nighthaunt lot. Yeah, that's how it goes. So those are the two. +1 for wearing a Celtics jersey, says Daka Dez.
Honestly, I got so many basketball jerseys. I'm just cycling through them now at this point.
Sorry. What was that about sports ball? Champions.
Is that the Bucks?
Yeah, Milwaukee Bucks.
I've got a Bucks jersey as well.
You are. I'm sorry, Ian. You have just, as of this moment, been replaced as my favorite on Team JustPlay.
I bought it from an official NBA shop.
Nah, I'm kidding, man. What was that?
Like, I was in Kuala Lumpur. I was in the official NBA store, and I was like, I love that shirt. It's the black one from. It's had Dellavedova on the back, and I'm like, I love that shirt. So I just bought it like a moron.
Yeah.
And I just love it. Like I think it's great. I mean, I don't really watch basketball. I'm massive on the NFL. Like massive. I mean, you can see up here with all the helmets and stuff.
Yeah.
On NFL.
So who's the best NFL team, and why is it the Green Bay Packers?
So the thing I watched was the
that's amazing
Super Bowl with Packers and Steelers.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a Packers fan, but I was like, I don't feel I want to be a glory supporter because it's my first game.
Come on over.
Well, this is the problem, right? So I was like, I'm gonna decide. So I said to my family, I'm like, next time you buy me a present for Christmas or whatever it was, birthday actually. So next time you buy me a present, just buy me a current NFL shirt, and then I'll choose from that. and I literally picked out a hat, and it was the Texans.
So you're a Texans fan. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Texans fan. Yeah, and honestly, awful. What have I done?
I love it. I love
It's
it.
just
Is that how
awful.
you ended up becoming a Destruction fan too? Is you just like picked like a goblin out of a
Glutton
hat?
for punishment.
Yeah.
Glutton for punishment. No, that was because Jim bought me a Mega Boss on foot. And he basically was like, "Oh, this army's going to suit you," and they were the worst army for like a year. So I had like a Gordrak Iron Fist list, and I took it to a tournament. Well, I took it to like 10 tournaments, and I didn't do very well. I think I finished like 2 and 3, 3 and 2, just over and over again, just getting battered.
So some last minute donations coming in here for the block. Sean Zor, shout outs to Sean Benson there. Awesome dude down in the upside down part. Take Rantathon to the moon. Thank you for the $5. Martin Orlando donating again for the cause. And I cut off the message. If I win the Soulblight Gravelords Mega Army, it's going towards prize pools and events. The cause is too important to not donate. $10. Thank you so much for that. Snitbag, need ghosts. I agree. Everyone needs more ghosts. And then Surf Looks a lot stonks. $5. Thank you so much. So, yeah. What about rugby, though? I'm told that sevens is the best sport on the planet, but I don't know what that means.
So rugby's played with 15 players on each team, and it's very slow and it's like grueling. And then you've got sevens, which is like the same size pitch but half the amount of players. So it's just a lot faster and there's not so much kind of like heavy tackling. It's faster, but I don't know if it's better. I used to play proper rugby, so as you can probably tell.
Yeah. I love, as you probably tell, like I have mass in the UK, therefore I was a young rugby player.
Yeah, I also played offensive line for like I don't know, a year or something, and then I got absolutely like I got smashed. Like someone tackled some defensive end, like smashed me, and I'm like, I'm never going to be a professional. I'm quitting. I literally just quit that day. Like that was horrible.
I'm told that for the PayPal, you either have to switch off your phone onto your computer or sign out and sign back in of your PayPal account itself. So that seems to be an issue that's going on with some people. Just to answer the chat thing. Couple minutes here. I'm going to go ahead and prepare my Excel document and hope that people don't...
Prep the Excel.
I hope I'm doing this right. I can't select a word. It's all right. I got you.
I mean, this is great. You know, day one goal, nearly met.
Yeah.
Quite a few sections left to go, right? What have you got, like...
Well, what? Let's see. There's 15
midnight.
guest blocks.
Yeah.
You guys are block number 4.
Yes.
I feel honored.
Good numbers, everyone.
Good
job.
Yeah, great job, everyone. Thanks for.
It has been an absolute honor to be called up. Like, didn't expect it. So yeah, really chuffed that you asked us. Like,
You're the face of Warhammer. It'd be wrong.
Yeah, I can't not have you on. You're basically the mascot for AOS right now.
Stop it. Absolute QEs. Then again, though, I went to Carnage today because I just had like a couple hours free, and I walked in, and there's got random people coming up to me like, "Oh, you're." I'm like, "Since when is this a thing?" Like,
it's inescapable. Like what Ian Ritchie and the rest need to do is like actually like monetize your image in some fashion. Now, like slap your face on the back of jerseys, sell them at the store, something like that. Like, just really go to town on this. Get stickers. Like,
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it definitely.
Sell your likeness for a pittance. You know, like.
The worst part is that if you try to monetize it and then you can't, and no one buys it, you're like, well, that's where you go.
It's not as funny as I thought it was. Oh no! And then your like self-esteem goes in it. No, don't do that.
Yeah.
It's fun to have fun. So just have fun. You know, have fun with it. All right, last minute. I'm probably safe to download to prepare the Excel document now.
Let's see. See who's won. Quite exciting. I think it's a good time to get yourself a Nighthaunt army.
Yeah, there you go. So I'll do the Nighthaunt drawing just like before. We kind of move in the. So I'll do Nighthaunt and then I'll do the Megagargant with autographed picture of the Face of Warhammer.
It's actually an autographed picture with a Megagargant.
That's what it is.
Megagargant. Yeah, we're just using the Megagargant as a box effectively to send the autograph picture, and that's pretty much what it's there. No.
Honestly, if there's like 5 donations of like $1, I'd be absolutely devastated at this point. I feel like no one's
Sort
listening.
of like when you buy a Celestial Hurricanum and what you get is a Hurricanum, but with a cart and horses and a couple of mages for free in the box.
See, what I want to see is...
Wings.
Go ahead.
When you buy a box of Ether Wings and you get a bunch of free Stormcast guys with crossbows.
Yeah.
That like, happen to come in the same box.
What I want to see is I want to see the Hurricanum on top of the Hurricanum. Like, you build the Hurricanum, and then you put the Hurricanum piece on top of the Hurricanum.
The two of them glued together and they sort of roll forward
Yeah,
like a wheel.
Yeah, it's like the Doom wheel, except it's the Hurricanum wheel.
Maybe that's what that box of 2 Hurricanums was for, just to take
you get 1 Hurricanum in it.
Like a Hurricanum Doom wheel.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
You got like a battle mage on top, like one of them lumberjacks on it. You know, like,
just running along. Spinning the wheel. This maybe needs to happen now as my next Hurricanum.
Luckily, mate, you've got access to a shop.
Yeah, well, I've also got 4 Hurricanums in my loft, so
Stop it. That's like 3 too many.
It's a Luminar kit as well, isn't it? So it's legit. But, yeah, I don't think you need more than one of them anymore, though. No stacking. Not a thing. Waiting for prizes.
Yep.
I mean, it is a good time to be getting a Nighthaunt army, but I think everyone should be mostly excited about the autograph picture. Really.
I agree.
It'll be done with love as well. I might kiss it, but then I'm leaving DNA and COVID, so probably not.
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea. You could spray a bit of aftershave on. Ode destruction.
Just mud.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is for the Nighthaunt.
Exciting.
Kicker wins some Nighthaunt.
Congrats, Kicker.
That's a Nighthaunt.
All right, so the Nighthaunt, but the prize we all care about is the photo.
Yeah.
Free Megagargant.
With the free Megagargant. Dying to Batik wins the Megagargant, which is cool. So,
who was that?
Well,
Dying to Batik.
Dying to Batik. Congratulations. I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoy running them, but also signing this picture of me.
Hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoy signing a picture of myself. Yeah.
Oh, I feel like an absolute superstar. If you can frame it and then send it me on Twitter, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I want to show people that aren't Warhammer that like I matter to someone else.
One somewhere. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
You think you're popular? Well,
thank you both so much for being on. This is great. I'll hopefully get you guys on a RantCast proper just to, talk about more food. That's just gonna be we're just gonna talk about food. And then maybe some Warhammer competitively speaking. Yeah. All right.
Sure.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah. You guys have a great.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Enjoy the rest of it. Thank you, chat, as well for as well.
It's been an honor. It's been an honor.
Yeah. Take care, everybody.
Bros.
Bye.
See you later, guys.
All right. I'm gonna grab the Roccos here.